Serious, in the spirit of October, what's the creepiest or most paranormal experience that has happened to you? Wasn't me who experienced it, but my mom and sister were in the living room watching TV one day, and I come into the living room through hallway to see my mom and sister freaked out. They told me I was just on the lazy boy opposite side of room from hallway, having a full-on conversation with them. Like they made plans with me to go dinner and movie. So I have a ghost doppelganger. Seeing a coyote skinwalker by the road on the way to Little Rock. I saw a human-like figure fall forward in some tall grass about a quarter-mile in front of me, and then it bounded after me once I passed. Had to gun my itty-bitty Hyundai accent to 95 miles per hour to lose it. Where I live, there is a ton of weird things. I've had things thrown at me when alone in my house, and had things make noises outside of my house. The worst thing I have ever seen was a creature who looked like the rake crawl after my mother's car when we were going home late at night last year after we had to pick up dinner from the local pizza place. A few nights later, I saw it crawl in the forest, and I was kept up all night by tapping on my windows, and something tried to go through the screen door. I had to be about 5 years old when it happened. My family lived in this small, old house at the time, so something paranormal was bound to happen. I woke up after a bad dream and looked around the room for a moment before something caught my eye. It was a shadow-like figure with a hat. I just sort of stared at it, completely shocked and afraid. I shut my eyes for a bit, pretending to sleep, and opened them again, and it was gone. I told my mom the next morning, and she assured me I was just seeing things, but I'm pretty sure what I saw was real. Short story, but still creepy. Saw an old man appear out of nowhere and walk through a wall. One day I was playing video games with my little brother downstairs when we heard my computer chair slide across the floor about 3 times. Came up to check it out, the windows were locked and nobody else was home. Got goosebumps because I had my chair pushed in and it was positioned right in the doorway as if someone put it there. I had a very unsettling shiver crawl up my spine, so I pushed it in, hurried back downstairs and stayed there until my wife got home. Lamau. Most of it was my mother, not me. When I was younger, our family had just moved into a nice 2-story yellow house. Nothing seemed off about it at first. My brother and I shared a room, and my sisters shared a separate room all on the top floor. Our parents' room were on the bottom floor. My brother used to sit in the doorway to our walk-in closet in the middle of the night and talk in his sleep. When asked about it, he said he was talking to a boy named Cody. There were a few times I saw the figure but didn't think much of it considering I was young. A few nights after one instance of this, my mom was downstairs on Skype with my dad, who was a few states away for work. My dad saw a figure of a boy standing behind my mom and asked her who it was. She saw the figure, and as soon as she did, the power went out. Her cell phone was fully charged and it went dead. She fell on the floor and started crying. A few minutes later the power came back on. Sadly, we didn't move out after that. Almost a month later, my mom started having dreams about this little girl and her mom swinging on our front porch swing. It was a reoccurring dream. It always unsettled her. Eventually we went into the attic. We had never had a use for it, so we never went up there, and the only thing we found in the attic was a picture. The picture was of a little girl and her mom. The same people from my mom's dream. We burned the picture and nothing paranormal happened after that. Edit, my family had a lot more paranormal stories if you guys want to hear them. So a little backstory, my life wasn't the worst, but it wasn't the best. Mom did drugs, dad was an alcoholic, and my grandpa was relatively high up in the mafia around here. There were quite literally at one point people begging for their lives in the room where I watched cartoons. I was between the ages of 6 to 11 throughout all of this. So plenty of reasons there would be negativity. After my grandpa died, we moved in. It started off small. My baby sister's toys would go off and her room would be trashed. We always felt we were being watched. Didn't like my room at night, etc. As time went on, it escalated. I saw a full-bodied person walk out of my room and go down the hall. Later determined it could have been my mom's dead brother from the military uniform I saw. At this point it was semi-normal for something to happen and it never seemed malicious. It didn't stay this way. Eventually doors would slam, I'd see a shadow in my closet and whispering in my room which sounded like it was coming from my other closet. One night I went to sleep with my parents because I couldn't be in my room. Woke up in the middle of the night to a black dog. We had a dog but not one like this, with yellow eyes standing at the edge of the bed with a few light growls, eventually disappearing. To shorten the rest of this up, parents split, mom tried to sell the house. While the house was being sold, doorbell would ring every morning at 7:30 on the dot without fail with no one there. One weekend I was there, I had crazy dreams which gave me anxiety attacks and an inhuman anger which hasn't happened since. People who bought the house years later asked my mom if there was anything demonic in the house. She of course said yes. TLDR, house was haunted, saw plenty of things including a demonic dog. House was sold. I was at work, I work at a state park, and I am a manager, so I am always last to leave. Far away from where the campers stay, there is our shop, as we call it. It is where our office, equipment, all the things we need for the park, etc. are located. In the shop is a bathroom, with a door that leads to the main room of the shop. It was late, like 10 p.m. or so. I had just got done using the bathroom and was leaning on the closed door of the inside of the bathroom. I was typing out a quick text before I went back to taking care of the park. When I use the bathroom when nobody else is there, I never lock the door because why would anybody open it? Anyways, I am leaning against the bathroom door when I hear 3 or 4 footsteps headed my way. At first I thought it was my boss, as he lives at the park and could theoretically come to the shop anytime he wants. It would be highly out of the ordinary for him to be here this late, as his shift ended hours ago, but his residence is a short 2-minute walk away from the shop, so to me it only made sense that it was him. As the footsteps approached, rather quickly, I kind of panicked and decided to lock the door, as I didn't want him to open the door quickly and hit me because he didn't know I was there. I lock the door the same second as I hear the doorknob turn from the outside, and I think I will hear him walk away, as he realizes I am in there. But instead, nothing. No footsteps walking away, nothing. I stand and wait for a few seconds and decide to finally open the door. There is nobody there. I look in every single room of the shop and still find no one. There is simply no way he could have walked back out of the shop, opened the door, and closed it without me hearing it before I opened the door. I don't really believe in the paranormal, but there is a Native American belief that when you lose a loved one, for a while you are connected to the other side. My sister died about a month before this happened. Since my sister's passing, I have had more unexplainable experiences in the few months since it happened than my entire life. I have seen strange orbs in the sky multiple times, and a week ago I saw a massive flash of light that seemed to emerge from the ground in the distance. I am either losing my mind or there is something to the legend. This is light compared to some of these stories. But I had sleep paralysis, which has never happened before or after this, and basically I was dreaming about whatever and then I woke up to a baby hand gripping my head, and I felt its little fingernails digging into my scalp, and it kept turning my head saying look progressively louder and louder, but I could open my eyes and then it all just randomly stopped. I shit you not, my teacher's kids had to be emergency rushed to Massachusetts for open heart surgery the next day. I'd if God sent a message or if it was just a coincidence, but it still weirds me out a little. I work third shift maintenance at an indoor water park in Ohio. Some things that happen at night in the park get weird. There's 2 little boys, a little girl, a lady in white and 2 older gentlemen, one mentally handicapped, and 12 random dudes down in the tunnels of the hotel. I've seen and felt the lady in white, heard the little boys ask me if I could play, and finally heard the older man laughing. If anyone wants to hear specific stories, just ask. I was sitting in my room alone and I wasn't doing anything important, and at my door I can see this black thing. I stared at it for a few minutes and I could feel it was getting hotter in the room for some reason. When I had got up to get a closer look at the thing, it retreated into another room just out of my sight. When I went looking for it I couldn't find it anywhere, but for some reason my house kept getting hotter. I had checked a thermometer to see the temperature and it was 47 degrees Celsius in my house. I went outside and it was freezing cold for some reason. When I went back inside it was normal again. I have AC now. TLDR, I saw a black object that somehow had made my house super hot.